हमारा अगला पैनल डिस्कशन है डेवलपिंग काउंटर मेजर्स फॉर रोग ड्रोन्स। चेयर करेंगे डॉक्टर प्रणव मोहंती, आईपीएस, आईसीटी। पैनलिस्ट जो है उसके पहले मैं मॉडरेटर का नाम भी लेना चाहूँगी। ग्रुप कैप्टन डॉक्टर आर के नारंग, आपसे भी निवेदन है आप मंच पर पधारें। पैनलिस्ट्स हैं श्री स्वप्निल जे जलुंधवाला, डीजीएम अडानी डिफेंस एंड एरोस्पेस, डॉक्टर नागेंद्र सामीनैनी, एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर जेन टेक्नोलॉजीज, श्री पवन कक्कर, सीईओ जुगा प्रो इंडिया लिमिटेड, श्री डी रामामूर्ति, एजीएम बेल मछलीपट्टनम। आपसे निवेदन है कृपया मंच पर पधारें और आज के इस पैनल डिस्कशन को आगे बढ़ाएं। बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे सभी मेहमानों का मंच पर। डेवलपिंग काउंटर मेजर्स फॉर रोग ड्रोन्स, इस विषय पर आज हम चर्चा करेंगे।
So good afternoon to the audience. A pleasure to be here again and to be able to address you. This panel discussion is basically revolving around developing countermeasures for rogue drones and how do we deal with drones that are hostile and adversarial. This is a very key kind of problem that we are now facing. Drones have their uses and they can be used against the country, against the criminal justice system, against the people. So given the kind of astronomical rate of development in drone technology, its adverse effects are also getting increasingly felt. Being from the BSF, we have been at the receiving end of things in terms of hostile drones, and I'm sure the fellow agencies and the fellow armed forces must also be having experiences in this domain. And I'm also sure that this problem is going to be faced by the police forces, inland police forces, in the days to come. So the question is, how do we deal with rogue drones or hostile drones or adversarial drones? What can be done about them? Should we just continue to shoot them down? Should we capture them? Should we intercept them? So basically there are three broad categories of looking at things from a kinetic level. So we have the option of hard kill. We have the option of soft kill, in which the drone is not destroyed. It is physically in our possession. It is not able to culminate its efforts for which it was sent or which it was meant for. And the third, of course, would be the legal perspective that we'll be also be looking at, apart from the three things. So the third option that I thought about, soft kill, hard kill, and the spoofing thing, in which the control of the drone is taken over. These are the kinetic methods. The non-kinetic methods, in this panel we'll also be discussing and looking at some of the legal measures that can be undertaken to control drones, to reduce the adversarial and hostile influence. So we have amongst our panel pretty eminent people who are having a lot of experience in this regard. We have Sri Jalundwala, who is the DGM in Adani Defense and Aerospace, Dr. Nagendra Samineni, who is the Executive Director, Zen Technologies. We have Mr. Sanish Sharma, Founder and CEO, IIO Technologies, Mr. Ramurthy, AGM BEL, Machilipatnam, and we have Group Captain Dr. Narang, who will also be co-partaking in the panel moderation. So I now request Dr. Narang to start.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have set the tone, or rather ball rolling. Advantage of person with knowledge is he covers most of the aspect. The second disadvantage is also because he covers everything. So you have fewer things to cover. While you have said this particular very important discussion, world over we have seen in the last wars that how drone threat is a cause of concern for armed forces around the world. And it is time that we understand the problem, and who better than the BSF guarding the borders and facing drone threat from our hostile adversary through various means, how they are using those drones against us. The challenge what we are facing is we have a threat and existing air defense systems are not able to detect and neutralize rogue drones. So new technologies, new systems, integration of those systems into the existing air defense systems is becoming a new challenge. And now with paramilitary forces acquiring a counter-drone system, the question comes, is there a need for evolution of new air defense systems? And I would take, views of chair. In the past, air defense was the responsibility of the Indian Air Force, and now we have a BSF and paramilitary forces guarding the border with active counter-drone systems in their hands. So before I ask the panel, can I take the liberty of asking your experts on one is, what are the challenges and how do you think that India has to move in this direction? The second aspect is, any new technology you have to be developed, you have to nurture that technology, and that comes through D&D initiatives. Because NATO had done a recent study and they spoke about something called Valley of Death. Some part of technology development is done by academia, some part of technology development is done by the industry, and in between is a Valley of Death. And there the role of these D&D initiatives, how, BSF, one of the competition they have started, I think it's first in the history that paramilitary forces have taken an initiative to initiate a new technology development initiative to invite industry and come up with the, solutions. But sir, are you also thinking of procuring those solutions? Because unless we procure those solutions, the solutions will not see the ultimate. So may I see your views and guidance on that, sir?
Surely, sir. It's a great point to have raised. We do have a technology or a pathway to enable such technology. We call that as Bhumi. So Bhumi is basically a hackathon in several fields, one of the most important of which is anti-drone. And we do adopt such technologies. In fact, on 3rd of June, it is proposed that the handover, because Bhumi is essentially a collaboration between BSF and MITI, the Ministry of Information and Technology. So technologies have been basically evaluated by expert panels across platforms. And one of the anti-drone solutions that has turned up through a particular firm, a particular vendor, has been accepted. It has been awarded, an initial prize of 10 lakhs upon selection in the preliminary selections, and a final prize of 25 lakhs upon its final selections. So that 25 lakhs will be awarded on June 3rd. I'll not be revealing names as of now, but it's a point that has been very well made. This is the first of its kind endeavour. It's a hackathon in which minds ranging from the academia, from the non-academia, from the industry, from the startups, from free-ranging experts have been employed, have been leveraged to come up with solutions. And in due course of time, I am sure that these solutions which have turned up after considerable amount of plowing, some of the best minds in the business, will bear fruit. So we'll be discussing some of these as the panel progresses. But it's a wonderful experiment, and I'm sure the sister agencies will be well intended. They'll be well formed or formatted in case they do partner with the best minds in business and come up with alternative solutions, not just in anti-drone technologies, but also in the technologies connected with drones.
So, before I move to one more small point, I would like to say, where is the role of BSF, or paramilitary forces, in the air defense network? Is there how in future we will have to integrate with the air defense systems?
No, you made a very correct point. Earlier, the air defense systems used to be the exclusive privilege of the armed forces. But now with agencies like the BSF, the SSB, even the CRPF to an extent, then you have ITBP moving to the frontiers. Air defense, especially in the face of drones, has become a shared responsibility of sorts. I mean, the immediate problem when a drone flies over the border, the contested territory into our homeland, would be that of the BSF. It is upon the BSF and its sister agencies across the borders, along the borders, who will be guarding the fence here. So air defense is an evolving strategy. Earlier it used to be against high-flying objects, but now we are having drones which are plentifully available. We'll have to look at policies which will take care of these. We'll also have to look at technologies which take care of this. we'll have to look at a holistic mixture of both, which is going to enable very, very secure air defense borders for the country.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You raised a very important point that tomorrow we will have to work on it, because this air defense we have to work out new means of air defense mechanisms where paramilitary forces and defense forces may have to work together. There has to be standard procedures and various other activities. How we make sure that the counter-drone systems you are using, they don't harm the manned, unmanned aviation aircraft being flying. So these are the issues I think will come up and has to be deliberate on. I now move on to Mr. Swapnil. Mr. Swapnil has their company has a unique distinction of working with multinationals as well as they are now working with Indian, innovators. So how is this your strategy of, starting with the multinational and now you are, working with the startups? So you have your thing. So how do you intend balancing these two of you? And how do you maintain that separation and how you result? Now we are looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if you could just dwell on in your remarks.
Very good afternoon, everyone. And it's a privilege to be a part of counter-drone panel discussions. And this is a very important question, but before that, I would just like to take you back a couple of years and talk about how we start the journey of bringing the best of the technology to the country. And that we have successfully done in the drone segment, wherein you heard from my colleague in the last session, wherein we are working closely with some of our partners abroad, and we have indigenized the technology here, and now it's for exports as well as for the Indian customers on the mail class of UAVs or even the tactical class of UAVs. But one thing we observed, UAVs and counter drones both are like strategic pillars for us, and along with that we also understand that there are some technologies which are very, very critical to the services, to the BSF, CISF, CRPF, and which has to remain within the country. It's very important that we don't expose those technologies outside, whereas we also provide enough resources, enough efforts in order to develop those technologies in the country. And one thing we have done in terms of swarm technologies, that was done by incubating a company from Delhi Technical University. Similar thing that we have done on the counter-drone segment. We believe counter-drone segment is an important tool because just like drones, which are not now anymore limited only to borders, it has entered within the territory of the countries. It is used for various commercial purposes as well, but you never know. You still need to protect a lot of your infrastructure, not only from the rogue drones, but some of the drones also that actually becomes more, that defaults on the technical side, but you still need to protect your infrastructure, your airports, your refineries, a lot of things. And of course, the protection from the borders always remain important by BSF and Indian Armed Forces. So it is very important that our defensive technologies are very limited to us. It's not exposed outside, and we develop from within the country. And that's the effort that we started around 3 years back in terms of the components that goes as a part of the overall counter-drone system. We have been working for multiple years. But you don't need a rifle to shoot a fly. It's like that. So the drone is such a small element, and having a large, costly air defense guns, is not something that is an appropriate solution for catering to smaller drones, which are not only cost effective, but also like they can carry out bigger disasters, by the way of its operation and autonomous nature. So that's where we started this whole development activity in terms of all ways of detection systems, as well as integrating together into a common command and control center, plus also developing the soft kill and hard kill measures. And we are in a very, very advanced stage in coming out with a hard kill laser system for the border operations. Of course, these are something which are not very much required within the country, but as far as using this for the country, within the country, we have a very good advanced systems that is indigenously developed by our engineers, by a small R&D team, that is working for years on radar systems, RF systems, even the jammer operations, as well as some of the electro-optics IR. In fact, electro-optics IR, we have one of the best expertise and working with tri-services for more than 15-20 years. So what we identified is we have capabilities with us, which is distributed. It's time we bring together and we work along with the startup and then introduce those defensive systems whose entire confidentiality remains with the forces here. And that's the main intent why we started this whole activity of counter-drone systems, and now we are ready to provide the systems to the services as per the requirement, as per the configuration, and totally indigenized in their own control. So that's how we believe that there are some things where we need some technologies outside in order to provide something much faster. But whatever is very confidential to the country, is better that we use our resources and develop indigenously.
Thank you very much. So you are providing, you are trying to fill the valley of death by hand-holding the small companies, and of course R&D has raised the issue raised by Major General Johar. A wonderful thing today I noticed was a military user was talking a language of a, like a CMD. He understood the problems, because I distinctly remember, I noted down those points. He said reasonable QRs, repeated trials, accept failures, and then you have a product, and then you improve on it to achieve your ultimate solution. I think that is the approach we have to take, and it was very encouraging to see this. Now I come to Mr. Pawan Kakkar. He's been in this domain, and I've been getting a lot of knowledge from him. Pawanji, of course you have a video, I will allow you, but I will just raise few questions so that in your remarks you can cover those aspects. What are the policy and other challenges you face in India? You have seen the policy changes happening. Yes. But despite whatever initial activities are, whatever initiatives are taken, despite that, our chair spoke about Bhumi initiatives. But the devil lies in details. So exactly. I would look up to that solution. And what role can be played by Indian industry in, finding a most reliable counter-drone solutions? Even the Ukraine war is saying that there are some exactly. issues. So if you can cover in your remarks.
When we are talking of the drone ecosystem, most of the focus has happened on the drones, which are drones for good. We have been talking about what the drones could do to the industry, what they can do. But what we are missing out is that where is the infrastructure to regulate the drone traffic? So we are talking of the drone regulations, but we do not have the infrastructure in the air to monitor the traffic. So we need the UTM first, then we need the counter-drone solution. So counter-drone solutions become a part of a UTM. But without a counter-drone solution and a UTM, a robust and a healthy drone ecosystem is not viable. It's a threat. That threat could be from clueless. I do not know where to fly, not to fly, or how to fly. It could be careless. I don't care. The third is, which is very critical, is the criminal. The criminal aspect has been seen in most of the war that we have seen. We have seen at the airports. And what BSF is seeing every day is the trans-border trafficking in terms of arms and ammunition. We are getting a 12 kg payload on a drone these days very easily. And in Colombia and Venezuela and Mexico, you have the drug cartels, which are also active perhaps in Punjab. And that's quite a different way of smuggling. So how do we do it? The first thing is, on behalf of a very small minority of the people in the industry, I represent the counter-drone solution industry here. We are about 24 people. Most of us are small, most of us are startups, and we have good industry, Adani and Reliance and other people looking at this particular industry, and this is about time that we have come. My compliments to Zen Technologies for having come up with a solution very fast. And on our side, we have a huge company called Bharat Electronics, which has all the capabilities to deliver that kind of infrastructure. So the good beginning has happened. We have seen the threat, we have analyzed the threat, and to some extent we have also prepared how to address this threat. So we have gone in for some solutions where we could address the threat. But the big question is, are we acting or are we reacting? So far, the industry response has been a reaction worldwide, not only in India. But there has been a threat. London was shut down, Gatwick was shut down, there was a problem in New York. Go and find a solution. But the adversary is smarter than us. He is looking at ways where he can surprise us, and what Aramco has shown to the world, that the physical damage is the minutest thing that he is trying to achieve. Is the financial impact of that particular threat, which we have to address. And unfortunately, the threat comes in a very small cost. It costs you, say, $1,000, 50,000 rupees or 70,000 rupees for a small drone. And please do not think that the one slightest sighting of an innocuous drone, a small DJI Phantom or a Mavic, can be ignored. And to the peril of the Russians, to peril of the Ukrainians, we have seen that these drones could be a force multiplier, and now the accuracy of the artillery fire has gone manifold. And we did not look at this. So, and we are having about 1 million unregistered drones in India. So what do? We'll have to use manpower. We'll have to use the mental intelligence of the ecosystem. We'll have to find out at the lowest police station level that if there's a sighting, it cannot be ignored. So are we prepared in terms of our infrastructure in the regulatory body, that who is the central body who's going to look at every aspect? What is the forensics? Have we failed? How often we fail to detect a drone? Drones are small, but thankfully there are technologies available. We'll show you something that you can detect and you can capture. You can ward them off, you can spoof. Spoofing is maybe a technology which will last for a year or so, because the drones are going beyond that. You can jam the GPS, but there are risks. Can you jam the GPS for 20 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 500 kilometers, or 2 kilometers? And then there are some GPS resistant technologies which we are already using in our own drone space. So GPS jamming is also one of the technologies which we might not be able to deploy for a long time. Then what do? We can jam the signal, but most of the drones are now autonomous. So if they're on an autonomous kamikaze mission, what do? Burn with a laser. There is a high power microwave evolving. There are these technologies evolving. We have these technologies now, and courtesy DRDO, we have already deployed lasers and they are successful. But then there is a risk of a collateral damage. So there is one more thing which comes in a counter drone solutions, is the consultancy or an advocacy that what are the solutions which will have a collateral damage on the nearby airport, nearby refinery, nearby factory. What are those things? Are we looking in a holistic manner? So compliments to our government that we have woken up to this particular threat and we are reacting very, very fast. We have put our solutions, and BSF is also using firepower, sheer firepower. Compliments to your people. They are excellent marksmen, that they are using rifles to bring down drones which are very difficult to spot. But then there are new technologies that we'll have to deploy. And there is one more thing where we have a challenge, is Himalayas, that most of the technologies which are very proven in the world will not work in our terrain, because that terrain does not exist anywhere. So we have to innovate. To innovate, you will have to handhold startups like us. The industry has to partner. Companies like Bell will have to partner. And we'll have to come with a multi-layered solution. So one solution doesn't work. It works for one area, but it doesn't work for other area. So we have to innovate, and we have to add value to the threat perception. We have to innovate, debate, and this is a very good forum. My compliments to Drone Federation that we have brought everybody together, the user, the government, and the defense forces, along with the private industry. So my compliments to everybody. When the chair allows, we'll try and show you some things.
Please go ahead.
How the situation is with the industry. So can I have a video presentation from Jugapro? So this is a small summary of the industry that we have. We have some radar manufacturers, some radio manufacturers, some jammer manufacturers. All of us will have to sit together, and we'll have to take a collaborative approach.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can
Is it ready?
later.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can cover this part later.
We'll finish with that.
Yeah. You raised a point about, the harmful effect of use of counter-drone systems. So, when I said we have to review our air defense system, these policies, procedures, this is going to be a new challenge, because some counter-drones are going to be deployed somewhere closer to the human habitated area, so we will have to find solutions. Mr. Nagender, I come to you. But give me a pause. I'll come back to Swapnil. Swapnil, you are developing a laser. One laser killing a drone, first of all, acquiring, keeping it tracked. Do you think, in short, is it a viable solution?
That's a very good question, and I believe see, one thing which we as industry have to do is see, the drones are evolving, okay, and hence the counter drone systems also need to evolve. Okay, we also need to keep on adding more elements to counter drone systems and not restrict to what we know today. But we also need to understand how the drones will be possibly 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. And what we are doing is there are multiple methods, I think, which one of my colleagues also mentioned in terms of spoofing, taking control, and those are some of the soft kill measures. And laser is one of the most effective, I would say, in terms of today's time, because if you go for hard kill measures, either we have we can integrate with normal guns, or we can use some drone hunters, drone killers that can go and bring down the drones. But you never know in terms of what is the collateral damage. However, when there is a swarm type of attack, wherein you don't have only one drone, but you have multiple drones coming from different directions, what one thing also we are working on is more on the high power microwave, wherein we use microwaves in a specific sector, okay, wherein we use that microwave to destroy all the drones that is coming in that sector. So this is also like being worked out. And as we move forward, we will also identify newer solutions that we need to introduce to the tri services, to BSF, CISF, CRPF, so that we equip them with the right technology and help them to provide a lot of resistance to the newer type of drones, newer technologies coming over there. So for laser, of course, you have a lasing time, you have a cooling time, you cannot engage beyond certain point. Okay, those challenges are there. But today, in the immediate future, if you are seeing one or two drones, a few drones coming in a very sporadic way, this is a good technology. But otherwise, in the future, HPM type of technology would be more effective.
Thank you bringing in HPM because SWAM was a next concern as raised by Chair in his opening remarks. Now I come down to Nagendra. Sorry for delaying your thing, but your question may be a little tough. What were the challenges being faced in supplying? You won the contract for selling first multi-sensor, multi-shooter, counter-drone system. First of all, is it effective system? What challenges were being faced by you in developing this thing and meeting the aspiration of most demanding user in Indian Defence Forces, that's the Indian Air Force? And second is there a potential for export in these? And what are those challenges you face when you have to export? So two challenges. Why? What challenges you faced in meeting the requirement of Indian Armed Forces? Are they met? And secondly, what challenges are likely to be faced when you start exporting? And third, what is the future of drones? Thank you.
Yeah. So, thank you. First of all, I must thank Indian Air Force for publishing a tender and then actually awarding multiple contracts. What happened in the past 1 year was really very, very good for Indian industry. All the tenders that Indian Air Force has actually floated are won by Indian companies. We are very, very happy for it because the mission with which the Gen Technologies, our subsidiary Unistring, is working is with complete indigenized solutions in the defense sector. This is the aim with which we have been working, and then we are completely focused on it. So it's good that these tenders have been won by Indian companies, and we are, most of the cases, wherever it is possible, we are all working together. Although we compete in certain sectors, but it's more like, we work together to make these things happen in India, and we would like to see India as global hub for counter-drone systems, which is, certainly possible with the mission with which we are working, BEL is working and all that. So the challenges in terms of realization of these systems, they're not much because these are typical EW systems that India has been producing for a quite longer time. And we have the complete expertise, ecosystem, manufacturers that are available. But considering the current global crisis for silicon, which is actually, hampering the schedules, because the schedules are really, really aggressive for what we have committed, or what Indian Air Force was looking at. So that was the only challenge. The availability of the silicon in order to deliver the systems was the only issue, because today the chips that we used to get for 1 year, 1 month lead time to 45 days lead time, they have gone to 6 months to 8 months, some cases 1 year. That's the only challenge that right now, and this is not going to be a long-term challenge, because this is very soon going to ease the situation which is right now happening also. So that was the challenge which has taken a little time for us to actually deliver the systems. Otherwise, everything is in track. Then your third question was the exports and then the future. As I said, like we have been continuously working on designing the solution, building the IP in India. So when you wanted to be a global leader, only manufacturing will definitely support you, but it doesn't help you to be a global leader. You need to have the intellectual property, you need to have the complete design idea. So that's where you will be able to get the edge in competition. That's where you will be able to get the edge in improving the solution, adapting the solution to the future requirements. Because as panelists has already told, this is not a threat which is simple. So this is not a threat for which solution is a single go, okay, no, you deploy these 3 sensors, your solution is done. No, it doesn't happen that way. You need to see the geography, you need to see the architecture, you need to see the area that you wanted to protect, you need to assess what is your actual threat. So, are you going to be attacked by a small system, a small drone, or your threat is coming from a bigger drone, or your threat is coming from a loitering ammunition? So, you will have to really assess that part and then adopt the solution to your requirement. When can we do that? When we have the complete hold on the solutions that we are going to provide. So that comes from the design innovations that we do here in India sitting. So that's why when we do that, we will adopt the solution to our requirements, and we also be able to supply this to globally with authority and with master. So we have a lot of export opportunities. Currently my team is working on multiple opportunities abroad. But so the way the Indian Air Force has done, they evaluated the system, so they have gone through the preliminary phase of trials, whether somebody has really the system or not. After that only they have finalized the contestants, and then they have placed the orders. So we may have to do it with the same with the foreign countries also. We'll have to go deploy our systems, demonstrate the systems. So then only they'll believe that, okay, so this is something which is going to work. So, and of course, they'll also ask for, where did you actually deploy the systems? Today we have that opportunity, so we are going to deliver the systems. The systems are going to be working. So you have more opportunities to work with the foreign countries, and there are opportunities we are working on. So the future is really bright, and we think in the next 3 years, we will be able to establish India as a global hub in counter-drone systems.
Thank you. In my belief, there are 3 platinum opportunities for India. One is manned aviation, second is drones, and third is counter-drone. And I'm very lucky to be chairing, to be moderating 2 sessions. One was yesterday on drone manufacturing, and today is a counter-drone. Now we have a rep from Mr. Ramamurthy, AGM BEL. Mr. Ramamurthy, you taking over, your company's strength lies in radars. India is benefiting, a lot of radars being developed by BEL, and we have been able to replace many foreign radars. So I believe it's a long journey. But now getting into counter-drone system, what do you think, which is the best radar technology suited for counter-drone system? How is it different from the earlier radars? And secondly is, when it goes to a production agency, you do applied research, you make it even better. What are your plans of, whatever the prototype DRDO gave, to improve it to meet the user requirement? As Nagendra explained, the process of development in isolation is different from meeting the requirement of users. And my third point in your remarks is, what are your future plans for D4 or, counter-drone systems? Thank you. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. And first of all, I thank DRDO for giving us this, choosing us as a TOT partner and giving us an opportunity to contribute to the CUAS development with the D4 system. So, coming to the point of radar development, at present in the D4 system, we have got the AAC radar with electronic scanning and elevation. Now, if you ask me, I will tell, because the time is running out, I will tell the steering array radar with micro-Doppler facility is the need of the hour for the radar technology to detect low RCS targets, because these DJI Phantom 4 or any targets will have a very low RCS target. Also, they fly at a very low, and the swarm of drones also coming, and to detect the swarm of drones, steering array radar with the micro-Doppler facility is the need of the hour. Then coming to the Bell capability, Bell is already there in the EW segment, radar segment, electro-optic segment, which are the key elements for this counter UAV system. So we have already got the established test facilities, manufacturing facilities, and as being the first TOT partner with DRDO, we associated with the DRDO right from the beginning in the development of the product, and in the process we established the relevant and required manufacturing processes, which is the need of the hour. See, to manufacture any product, you require a good documentation and drawings, and also you should have the prototype has to be, if we have to supply to the customers like Ministry of Defense, it has to be evaluated and it has to comply with the environmental standards like JSS Penta 5, EMI, EMC. So what we did is, like we took the subsystems, we parallelly engineered the subsystems, and then we qualified them for the MOD requirements. And we thank Indian Air Force, Indian Army and Indian Navy to, they have awarded contracts to supply around 23 systems of the CUS D4 technology. And we are confident that the first of production model will be rolled out by around July of this month, July of this year. Then coming back to the latest technologies, what we have to focus in future is identifying friend or foe, that is electronic identification. That is the need of the hour. So, and also selective jamming, selective killing through beamforming networks. These two are the latest, means these based on these two technologies, Bell in association with the DRDO, we are working together. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I think I'll request Dr. Narang to wrap up now that.
So I think I had given chance to them. If you allow me, just one small question which I want to ask is,
Sure.
Anyone would like to tell me what is the thought of industry on building airborne counter-drone systems? Do you think that we need, because if you fix your counter-drone system on ground, you can meet them a particular, objective. But is the time come, and what is the potential solution? Just one line, if you guys can.
I think we'll ask all our panel members
to give just
question.
one remarks on future of airborne counter-drone system. Is it there or not there?
Yeah, see, airborne counter-drone systems, anyway, we haven't thought about, but definitely not the counter-drone systems, but you need to have airborne more intelligence at least to identify these objects in the mid-fly, because the kind of flying that we are doing at those altitudes.
And then what do you do? Then what do you do? Then what do you do?
Okay, see, once we have done the similar measures, we already have jammers on aircraft.
Yeah,
we already have guns on aircraft.
That's my idea of raising this question.
Yeah.
We need to think. And, tomorrow when our helicopters are operating on border, even when they have senior dignitaries, smart drones are a threat.
Yeah.
So my idea is also to raise a point, to start thinking is a point. Mr. Swapnil, if you have a point too.
I would want to divide this question in two parts. One is, of course, for any flying object like aircrafts we have, right? Because CISF today at BCAS, they have mandated airports to have counter systems, but they are saying that the approach funnel have to be cleared. So for those type of applications wherein we have to protect the aircrafts, flying helicopters and all, we need to have some system in terms of if they can do some clean away in their approach. When that is something which should be done and which industry should look at. However, more than that, 80-90% of this stuff is still on the ground, which we have to protect. So not neglecting the fact that protecting the ground infrastructure is also equally important. So the applications are different, and we are having some systems that we put on Hermes 900, which is not counter drone, but it is more about anti-jamming type. So now we are also working on in terms of how do we progress it further, and also bring air-to-air laser system, which one of our partners, Selbit Systems, has successfully demonstrated in Israel. How do we indigenize and use it for over here so that we can use it for hard kill options? So these are some development, and we are looking forward to that.
Any point from Mr. Pawan?
So two things are there, sir. We have to look at our friends from China. As I told you, the Himalayan challenge is different. So most of the counter-drone solutions which are land-based will not work. And in this forum, I can't tell you what the Chinese are doing, but on the offline side, we'll tell you that they have 2 battalions which might surprise us enormously with the capabilities that they have developed in the airborne system. The other system which is available in the public domain, we'd like to show you. With the permission of chair, we'll show you a video, sir. Can we run the presentation now? Only 1 second.
What we'll do is when we are
so
presenting
we have
the prizes.
So we have already demonstrated a net capture system, which is available in the world, wherein the drone captures the drone autonomously. So
is that when the prizes are being given, this can roll on in the background.
All right, sir.
And I think it will be self-explanatory.
Yes, sir.
So shall we quickly move on to Mr. Ramurthy?
You have any point, Mr. Ramurthy?
Sir, regarding this airborne air defense system regarding counter drones, one is airborne jammer systems, because if you see the jammers, line of sight requirements are there, and over the horizon, if you want to jump, you cannot jump. So the drone-based jammer systems is one thing. Drone-based comment systems, like for the intelligence part of the control signals, signal intelligence, you can, the drone-based EW system, I can say, these two will help us in countering the drones.
Thank you, Mr. Ramurthy. So now we conclude this session, the panel discussion. Thanks to all the esteemed panelists and the distinguished views. And I'm sure all in the audience would have benefited from the views expounded. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Move forward.
Thank you all the speakers, and I request Group Captain Dr. R.K. Narangji to kindly present mementos to all the mehman and our eminent guest speakers. कोई नहीं, उनको तो मिल चुका है पहले. अतिथि सत्कार हमारे संस्कारों में है और हम उन्हें मेमेंटो प्रदान कर रहे हैं. ये इस ऐतिहासिक ड्रोन महोत्सव की यादें हैं जो इन सभी अतिथियों के साथ हमेशा ये संजो कर रखेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। कैमरे भी इन यादों को हमेशा सजा कर रखने की जिम्मेदारी बखूबी निभाते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।